Hi, we are here with Zubin Mishra, who's consultant Bharti, which is an initiative by the Agricultural and Processed Food Products Export Development Authority. So, Zubin, tell us about Bharti.
Thanks, Riddhi, for asking this question. And at the outset, I'm very excited to talk about Bharti. This is a great new initiative by APIDA, and this is a first of its kind export enablement acceleration initiative targeting the startups. And as you know, startups is a great part of Indian economy, and there's a lot that is happening to grow the startup ecosystem. And APIDA wants to take this whole idea of startup to the next level to channelize and harness the power of Indian export, focus startup, and see how we can enable the export growth from India. So what are we doing through Bharti? So as I said, it is an export acceleration initiative. We're going to enable Indian startups with an export mindset to export more. And it's just not the traditional focus area that APIDA has been focused on. So we are looking beyond our traditional producers of food and food-based products or meat-based products. So we are looking at startups who have really innovative, differentiated, first of its kind market proposition that we can take to global market. And it could be novel food products, it could be Ayush products, it could be organic product, it could be GI product, it could be bringing different products together to create new variants which does not exist. And these products we are trying to see, can we cater to the large Indian diaspora that exists in the export markets? Now, is this all? Not absolutely, because we also understand that export in India is also constrained by a lot of things. We need to really improve our export value chain. So we're looking at, through Bharti, creating a cohort of 100 startups through the pilot program that we're going to do. We'll have essentially 3 kinds of startup that we're going to target to nurture them from an export enablement perspective. The first I spoke about is the traditional focus area that we've had. So through that, we are looking at people who are agri-food producers, bringing innovative and novel products. The second are technology and service providers which are solving for export challenges like quality, compliance, traceability using IoT, AI, blockchains. What can we do to improve our C protocol? What can we do to improve our packaging? What can we do to improve our logistics? There's a lot of work happening in the tech space. Right. Can we tap into that tech space and see how do we complement our exporters and export producing companies and help them with solutions which will help them export better, faster, cheaper, and efficient, meeting all the global standards. The third dimension of this is we also understand that exports are governed by the WTO, SPS, and TBT norms. And there are of late a lot of restrictions across the globe. There are growing regulatory regimes. And we have issues like, typically, if you are aware, let's say, groundnut exports are impacted by aflatoxins. So we want to look at people who are having solutions which are not the traditional solutions we have known to deal with these things. So what's the new possibility in terms of how do we solve for an aflatoxin in groundnut? So the third category of startups are the people who would address SPS and TBT solution. So in a sense, we're bringing a cohort focused completely on our export agenda. And as you are aware, through Bharti, APIDA is also targeting to reach its 50 billion target by 2030. It's an ambitious target. Right. And we are doing a top-down approach. Our vision extends from looking at the entire agri ecosystem. Correct. And we have our strength in the traditional areas. Now we're going to look at the bottom of the pyramid, the startups, and enable them. And Bharti in total is all about that.
Another question that I had is, how does Bharti initiative benefit a startup? What does a startup look forward to?
Beautiful question, Riddhi. See, today's startups are created with different agenda. We want startup to look beyond India. And beyond India, there's a large market because, again, you have Indians outside India who are consumers. That's one part. Export is a large national agenda in every country.
Correct.
So if I'm today solving for India's export problem through tech and tech-enabled solution, I'm definitely also going to be having to these solutions which can be exported to other countries.
Correct.
So fundamentally, this program is different because this is all about preparing you for export markets.
Correct.
It is all about making you export ready. It is all about thinking export first and making the world a canvas. So it is truly made in India for the world. It is in line with our entire Atmanirbhar concepts. It is in line with our Viksit Bharat goals. But what this program truly does is takes the startup global. And global from day one. We are helping you think global. We are helping you envisage a larger canvas. And while we are doing we are bringing the complementary benefit.
Correct.
And these startups as I keep on saying in a lighter note, is not going to teach you things which is typically what you would learn in the Googles and the Chat GPTs of the world. We want to bring you practical insights which are tailored to the Indian export requirements, which means through this program we are going to give you a very, very specialized acceleration input, which would help you scale, grow, and expand and explore global market and become an export first global entity coming out of India. So that's the benefit you could look at it, because we are changing the whole focus that you can look at in terms of growing your business. So when you're building for exports, obviously you scale faster, and that's the true benefit that you would get out of this.
Very, very incredible answer, Zubin. Another thing that I wanted to know was that there are so many startup initiatives now, with India being the largest youth population at the moment. How is this startup accelerator program, incubation program, different from other startup initiatives?
Absolutely. So one, are we different? So I would say we are, more than being unique or different, we are positioned differently, Riddhi. I think that's what important for understand. And we are not going to replace your traditional accelerator incubator program. In fact, we're going to complement it. So the fundamental point you need to understand is that there are a lot of beautiful initiatives happening for the startups from incubation and accelerating perspective, as you rightly mentioned. There are several of them. We want to take startups, even who are in existing acceleration and incubation program, but make them export first. So I think fundamentally you need to understand, while the platform is envisaged as an acceleration medium, it is with an export orientation. And I can truly hand on heart say that we haven't done much in terms of export enablement as an acceleration focus. Export is the need of the hour. So fundamentally our positioning is different, and we need to appreciate that this positioning coming from APIDA solves for a large part of India's export challenge, also gives our startups another leg of growth. That's a huge thing. Today, if you understand, a lot of startups face challenges with mortality and all. I think fundamentally the second aspect of it is we are going to tackle issues of how do you scale organically, how do you become self-reliant, how do you become ambition in an outlook, but also pragmatic in terms of how you grow your business. Now, when you grow your business as a startup, you need various inputs, and those inputs sometimes are, they're never enough. But when we're trying to look at it from an export lens, we're trying to see what can we make to help you scale, grow, and sustain. So that's the second part of how we're trying to make this, different in terms of how it is focused. The third most important part. Through this, see, if you look at typically, there are accelerator incubator focused on a certain agenda.
Correct.
What we are saying is this is about solving for constraints, solving for challenge, solving for problem.
Correct.
It is solving for a national agenda by enabling export. So please understand that this is just not about a startup enablement. It is solving for a national problem by bringing startups, and we are bringing different kind of startups with complementary agendas. Because on its own, can you do an export? If you are a producer of millet-based cereal, you would have to face a lot of challenges in terms of their export linkages. How do I get export finance? How do I get export credit? How do I bring technology to solve for my export inventory or export logistics?
Right.
So I'm going to bring you to people who are solving for this need for tomorrow. So I'm also going to bring people who are also going to look at the challenges from an SPS TBT perspective. So when you have a cohort designed around a common theme of export enablement, bringing 3 different kinds of startup, you can imagine the impact that it creates. So it is a collective endeavor. It is a concerted effort where we are building a collaborative ecosystem.
Right.
So you fundamentally, if you were to ask in one type, startup enablement is the focus of this whole initiative, yes, but what we are trying to build is a collaborative ecosystem where startups can come together to solve for a national agenda while thriving on their own, and where they're building linkages which helps them navigate through their growth journey in a much effective manner. And that's where we are poised to be different. And we would work in conjunction with other accelerator, other government program, other initiatives by the government, the private sector, the academic institution. In fact, our entire sourcing method, Riddhi, is based on extremely focused and wider reach out, where we are reaching out to everybody in the ecosystem saying, if you have startups who are anyway being groomed for the different aspects, please help us identify those startups that we can groom for export. So that's where we are poised, and we will have a unique space for ourselves in this whole ecosystem of accelerators and incubators.
That was very insightful, Zubin. We would encourage all startups to apply for the Bharti initiative. Zubin, another question that I had was, how does the mechanics of this whole function?
Very relevant. So, Riddhi, through your this discussion, I would like to also educate the people who are looking at how we're going. So, one, this is a nationwide sourcing initiative. As I spoke earlier, we would be reaching out to everybody in the ecosystem. So academic institutes, incubators, accelerator, we'll be promoting through our social media channel. So essentially we are targeting startups in the three target areas that we operate or we desire to operate in, and we are going to do a nationwide sourcing. So we're going to start an application process which will be driven by the APIDA website. Do look out for more information in coming days where we will launch this initiative formally and the application sourcing
You must
process.
check out the APIDA website where the program is going to go live
The APIDA
soon.
website will have a Bharti page, and we would be very, very shortly going live with this. So once you go there, there is a very exhaustive screening and qualification criteria we put. So there's a two-step process. So there's a screening questionnaire and then there's a detailed questionnaire.
Right.
And mind you, I must say this detailed questionnaire is very exhaustive. So it is meant for people who are really serious. So yes, it's not going to be an easy effort. We are going to look at comprehensive set of inputs, and then we are going to evaluate them. So we have a scoring criteria to see who are the really eligible startup, the best of the lot that make the cut.
Right.
And out of the startup lots, we would also be, once we do our initial shortlisting, we plan to have a business challenge or a hackathon kind of thing where they can come and further pitch
Very
on a
nice.
specific agenda that we have. And through that, we would select the first cohort of 100 startups, which would obviously pan out in batches,
Right.
and more details will get announced.
Right.
But fundamentally, we are looking at a self-assessment based application process, which is very rigorous, which is granular to the point, which allows us to score startups on different parameters that we
Correct.
are looking at in terms of who we believe would be export ready and who can be nurtured for growth. So that's the design. And then once this selection is done, they would go through a 3 months acceleration program. Out of that, a certain select few we would also want to mentor them one-on-one.
Right.
So
Very
we are
important.
really making it competitive in that sense, and that is how that whole program would go. And post acceleration, we would also have a level of oversight and monitoring in terms of how they move with their export plan. And the idea is that they can actually create a year-long export plan for themselves, taking input and then operationalize their export goals. So this is in broad the design of the program. More obviously, I would encourage you to read on our content page on the website, and I'm pretty sure that this would be a great success. We will be able to contribute to our national goals agenda, and together we should all be able to support our dream of our leaders to create a Atmanirbhar and a Viksit Bharat by the time frame that we have set for ourselves. Thank you, Rudy.
With that messaging, which is to create an Atmanirbhar Bharat and a Viksit Bharat by 2030, thank you so much, Zubin, for explaining the broader contours of the Bharti initiative by APIDA. Thank you so much.